recording. Alright, action.
Okay, so this is an analysis of the Crucible. I've attempted to connect it to the new syllabus. Obviously, there's a lot of data and analysis of this text. It's been on prescribed lists in Australia and overseas, so I'm sure you'll find lots of data on it. But some of the new analysis, will be quite bare, so to speak. So I've attempted to take a lot of the analysis that I've accumulated over as a teacher and maybe draw it towards this new syllabus. So one of the most talked about and analysed symbols or motifs in the text is the doll, and maybe the puppet for different countries or codes, so to speak. But there's a lot of information about this particular motif. But let's try and look at it in terms of the new syllabus. When Mary Warren attempts to comfort Elizabeth through such treacherous times, she hands her a soft, comforting doll or puppet. In this case, Miller attempts to portray that this dealing is an example of subversion or bias, so to speak, thus symbolising the undermining power of authority within a group or institution. At this point, the responder can draw parallels between the significance of the doll and the power of subversion during the McCarthy era of politics. In that instance, the true course of justice was averted and the citizens' democratic rights relinquished, as the Red Scare subverted the truth through a campaign built on the fear of communism. When the responder observes or reads, depending on how you receive the text, saw Mary Warren sticking a needle in the puppet by Abigail, well, obviously, there's a tone of subversiveness within this section of the text, meaning it almost retracts the base view of the puppet from a heartfelt gift to maybe even an example of witchcraft. So now there's another facet to the doll. The extended metaphor of witchcraft throughout the text manifests itself within the responder as a reflection of communism. So, if you look at the text and the setting, well, Salem, witch trials, let's flick back to the McCarthy era of politics. Was it a political witch hunt? It seems pretty obvious. And then if you connect this symbol, then you get the depth of Miller's views, so to speak. If I was to really study this new syllabus, well, in essence, Miller highlights that the ability of humankind to withstand the power of subversion, no matter how contrite we are, is weak, and that our connection to our moral fibre could be best described as fluvial, really. Undoubtedly, the true nature of the human experience is transparent in this scene, as the paradox of what we call moral fibre is ripped to shreds, pardon the pun there, by the gifting of a doll. In direct opposition to this, so if you want to take the other view that we are built on strength and resilience, well, let's take the case of Abigail Williams and look at her conviction to destroy the reputation of Elizabeth Proctor. And if you really get deep on it and analyse human convictions over the years, sometimes our strength is used for negativity, which is a paradox as well, if you think about it. Thus, the notion of inconsistencies within the human psyche is made apparent at this point. Now, when you look at the new syllabus, there's a big section on it as a focus on your own reflection. So make sure that you reflect in your teal, peel, or steel paragraphs, and you can reflect on your own inconsistencies and hopefully find some solace in their behaviour. So let's try now unpack the title. As I said before, because this text has been so popular, you will find a lot of analysis out there. Let me try and give you a bit of a new syllabus connection to it so you can make it more relevant in your essays, for example. The value of dramatic symbols is clearly exemplified in this text. As the name of the text is the initial symbol the responder has to come to terms with. In its most simplistic form, a crucible is a piece of scientific equipment. However, from a semiotic standpoint, what an image of a crucible embodies poses far greater questions to the audience than that of a meagre piece of scientific paraphernalia. The most notable aspect of a crucible is that it is able to withstand fierce amounts of heat, and thus depicting the levels of hysteria that are portrayed in the play, but to a greater extent the levels of hysteria that were apparent during the Red Scare or the Salem witch trials. The crucible can also be viewed as a receptacle that purifies by the process of burning, and thus portrays a duality in its meaning. Now, it's multifaceted, I'm just speaking to. The first is that the concept of purifying embodies the initial views of the Puritans when they arrived on the shores of Massachusetts seeking a disconnect from Catholic theocracy. Another would be that this hysteria, a natural purifying process in itself, occurs after the condemnation and destruction of a community's civil liberties. And that's obviously a paradox there as well. All that is left is the true nature of our existence. So in essence, once you burn or the hysteria is used, there will be a purifying process, whether it was a demanding one or not, and at the end of it, the truth or the essence of whatever is burnt is left, and in this instance the metaphor is used to reflect our own existence, and hence there's lots of connections to the syllabus with the human experience. Now, the responder is able to deduce the realities of the human experience and be able to review their own dealings with, maybe not hysteria in this modern world, but condemnation at least, thus being able to grasp their own behavioral styles and reactions. So there are lots of connections to this new syllabus, as long as you look at the essence of some of the dealings, some of the decisions made by the characters, and of course the composer's intentions and motivations. So I hope this was valuable to you. Thank you.
Cut.
Yeah. How long was that?